Hi guys, this is Jen here. Today I'm going to do part 6 of keeping an organized and clutter-free kitchen. Today I'm going to show you inside of all of my cabinets how I organize my dishes and my bakeware, my pots and pans and everything. And before I get started, just keep in mind that my children are 12 and 15, so you'll have to keep in mind the age of your children and where you need to keep their plastic dishes and things like that, because as your lives change, you'll change where you put things. But I do have a lot of tips, and so I hope that you'll find this video helpful regardless of the age of your children. And if I forget to mention when I'm showing you everything, I keep some of my smaller appliances like my mixer, my different slow cookers, bread machine, my food processor, waffle maker, and things like that on shelves in the basement, just because I don't have the extra room in my kitchen and I can easily get those from downstairs when I need those. So that's just you don't have to keep everything in the kitchen, but as much as you can. So I'll go ahead and get started and show you how I organize all of my cabinets. Okay, so this is the cabinet to the right of my sink, and I do have older cabinets. They are clean. They might be stained from 20 years ago or something, but they are clean, so I just wanted to let you know that. On the bottom here, I have all of our plates, our dinner plates, and I love these plate racks. You can fit so much. You double your space by using these, and these are two separate ones here, and you can find these pretty much anywhere. They have them at the Dollar Tree, but they are very narrow, so you will probably need a larger one if you're going to stack dinner plates on there. So I just have all of our plates, our smaller plates, and our bowls here for dinner. And then on the middle shelf I have all of our glasses and cups. Some of them are in the dishwasher, but I keep all of our cups that we use for taking to the gym or for water or coffee, coffee cups and everything right here. And we are taller in our house, so we can all reach these things. When my kids were younger, I would have to keep their dishes in a lower cabinet. So just organize it in a way that would work for your family. On this shelf up here at the top, I have things that I don't use all the time. I can still reach these things, so it's no problem, but I have my pitchers here, and then some glasses that I usually only use for company, and then I have a couple stacks of these little red bowls for condiments or dressings or things like that I make. And that is just a little dish of sugar for my husband's coffee. Okay, this is the cabinet to the left of my sink, and on this shelf I keep our dishes that we use just for snacks and cereal and things like that. I did use one of the more narrow plate racks from the Dollar Tree because these aren't very heavy, and it was fine to put those on there, and I saved a little bit of money. And I have a big stack of smaller plates that we can put a sandwich on or whatever. And it's nice also to have a lot of these type of dishes for sometimes we'll have company for dessert, and you just want to make sure you have enough, but that's just a little tip. And I don't have a lot of room on my countertops, so I wanted to keep my blender and toaster easily accessible, but they couldn't really fit on the countertop, so I just have these here and we can easily take them down. My kids are old enough to be able to reach these, so I just have my blender and my toaster here. And then up here I keep things that I might not use all the time, or my serving bowls that I can just grab really quickly. So I have my serving bowls there, and then this stack is just like my deviled egg dish, chip and dip dish, just a couple serving plates and serving bowls there. Okay, this cabinet is right above my sink, and I use this cabinet for baking things that I use often. I do have more baking things, but these are the ones that I use a lot. And I also have my storage, my food storage dishes. So on this lower shelf I have my cookie sheets and my cutting boards. And then I bake muffins a lot, so I wanted those to be somewhere that I could get to easily. So I just have a few different muffin tins, mini muffin tins, and my cooling racks. And they do make some wonderful little racks where you put your baking dishes in vertically, but I didn't have a cabinet that I could really use those and be able to get to everything else. So those are great. You can find those pretty much anywhere, and if I had the room I would use one of those, but I can just easily pull these things out, so it's no problem. On the middle shelf here I have my bowls that I used for mixing things when I'm cooking or for food storage, and then I have Ziploc containers of different sizes. And I have found that I don't need tons of Tupperware or plastics food storage dishes. I have, you know, quite a few, but I don't have a ton. And, you know, I've just realized that I'm not going to use just a massive amount, so I can keep the clutter out of my cabinets by just having what I need. So I just have the different sizes, and I keep the lids right on top. If I have a stack of them, some of these are in my fridge or in the dishwasher, but if I have a stack of them, I'll just keep the lids stacked up on top, so I can just grab those and I don't have to search through a pile of lids, and I don't have mix match bowls with lids and things like that. So it is also nice I have all one brand, and so I can do that. You know, I don't have multiple sizes and lids and all of those things, so that just makes it nice. And inside of here I have different bowls, and I have a larger one that's in my refrigerator, and I just keep the lids for those stacked up underneath because they are large, and I can't set those vertically, but then I can just grab the lid for those. So all the lids are kind of with the dishes, and it just makes it easier for me. Up here I have more of these, but they are in the fridge with leftovers, but I have some Pyrex dishes here, and I just keep the lid right on top, and that is for leftovers and things. And over here I have two of the 13 by 9 dishes, and I just keep the lid right on top. So I do have definitely enough, but I don't tend to buy just a massive amount of things because I just realized I'm not going to be using more than this, and so it just keeps the clutter down and keeps me from spending money on things that I might not need. Okay, this cabinet is above my stove, and it's a nice big cabinet, but it's up high. I didn't want to keep things in the top that I had to get to often because I can reach it if it's at the very edge because I am tall and I have long arms, but I couldn't reach it if it was in the back. And I'm actually standing on a chair so that you guys could see everything better. So, you know, it's a great big cabinet, but it's not easily accessible. So, I did show in my last video on organizing your kitchen how I keep my cookbooks, spices, vinegars, and oil, so I won't go through that again, but this is just right above my stove, and if you want to see that video it will be linked in the description box. So up here, like I said, I have things that I don't use often, and I have I try to keep all of my baking dishes that I don't need to get to often up here, and I do have an electric knife there, and I just different baking pans of different sizes here. My loaf pans, you can tell I've used that a lot. It's kind of stained, but yeah. And just different pans, pie dishes, bud cake pan. So that's that. And this is the cabinet above my refrigerator. Now this stuff is a little harder to get to, so I didn't want it to put anything here that I use regularly, but it is nice and big so I can keep a lot in here. So I have my electric frying pan, which I use sometimes but not often, and I have to stand on a chair to get that down because it's bigger. And then I have my stock pot here, and then this cabinet, or I'm sorry, this shelf, I have this really large serving dish, my cake plate, and then I can actually get to this stuff really well through the other side of the cabinet because it's above my stove, but I just have my different taco seasoning, ranch seasoning, and then my juicer, and I have like my liquid measuring cup and cheese grater and those. So just things that I use, and I can get to these pretty easily through the other side, like I said. Okay, this isn't a cabinet, but this is where I keep a lot of my pots and pans, and I do have more in a cabinet that I'll show you. But this space in the drawer under your stove is just great for storage. So I have my different sizes of skillets all lined up, and I have a bigger one in a cabinet, and my different saucepans, and then I just have the lids over here on the side, and I can fit so much in there. So it is a great place to store your pans if you don't have a lot of room. Okay, this cabinet is to the right of my sink, and it's on the bottom. And these pull out, so I can't adjust these shelves. And we used to fit our food in here, which was really inconvenient because we'd have to bend down and get our food. And then I made that pantry, which I showed in another video, which will also be linked in the description box if you would like to see that. But in here I have some of my heavier pans on the bottom. And again, my cabinets are older, so they are clean, but you know, they are older. I have my cast iron skillet, my large pan that I use a lot for cooking. I have my Dutch oven, and then in the back there I have my salad spinner. So just some heavier, larger things, but I can easily get to those. And then on this drawer or shelf or whatever you want to call it, pull-out drawer, I have, you know, my different pots, and there's another one back there, and I have these things, I can't think of the name, those, and I have the things I need for grilling because I didn't really have another spot for those. So this is just a grill pan, and different grilling utensils are just slid in there. So I can get to this stuff really easily. Some of it is heavier, especially the cast iron stuff, and it just is really nice for when I'm cooking. I can get to those easily.